Start recording. We're good. Hello and welcome to my 5 things I wish I'd known when I started airbrushing. I was going to do 10, but nobody wants to hear me waffle for that long. First thing, you're going to notice I have a new microphone, and I also have some new lights. I was pointing to that one, but you can't see that one. I have some new lights I'm testing out, so let me know in the comments if it looks alright or anything like that. Okay, so I've just mentioned the lights, and I need to apologise. The lighting in the video isn't brilliant. I'm quite new to it. I've not really played about with lighting before. And also, don't record when the sun goes down. Watch the blind. It gets darker. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. I also have another camera. I have this camera. I have 2 cameras. They're both cam parts, and they're both variations of the same thing. Right, on with the video. Welcome back to GeekBod Gaming. I want to say thank you to my new subscribers and my existing ones. I've had a few off the back of the Cam Park video that I did and the airbrush video that I did. So yeah, welcome and thank you for inspiring me to do some more, even if it did take a little while. I do apologise. So, welcome to my 5 things I wish I'd known when I started airbrushing. I'm not an expert, but I like to think I've learnt a few things on the way, usually the hard way. So I thought I would share them with you, and hopefully you're interested. Thing number 1, you're going to need to clean it a lot, so get comfortable with your airbrush and how you strip it and clean it, and how you do a quick clean between paints. Your airbrush, if it's a new airbrush, it should come with a manual, so have a look through that. I know, manual, scary. But have a look through it and just see. Usually they've got a diagram which strips down all the parts so you can see how they all go together. So have something handy where you can put all the bits in and stop them falling on the floor. Thing number 2. Find a good spares store. It's going to be a fact. You are going to lose parts and you are going to break needles or bend needles. So it's always handy to have a good spares store that you can just go to when you need stuff. In the UK, I recommend Everything Airbrush. .com or .co.uk. I'll find out and put a link down below. I tend to have a spare needle if nothing else. They're cheap and it's easier if you've got one there when you eventually do bend or break one, just to pick it out and not have to break off painting. I know none of these so far have been about airbrush technique, but these are things that I didn't think of and I just got in, sprayed and wondered why I was doing so badly. Thing number 3. Learn your compressor. That is vitally important. Whatever compressor you get, whether it be a tank, be it with a built-in moisture trap or a regulator valve, learn how it works. Most of them come with a regulator valve. I didn't have a clue for so long how to change the pressure. It's simple as that. I didn't know how to work the regulator valve. I had to Google it. People were telling me it needs to be at 15 psi, 20 psi, 30 psi, and I just looked at it and went, For example, with the regulator valve, to change the pressure on it, you need to hold... I was going to demonstrate. I'll put a video up. To change the pressure on the regulator valve, you need to be doing it while you're spraying air through. So push the trigger down so the air's coming out. You don't need to pull it back. Pull the catch up and then adjust the pressure as you're spraying. That gets you the working pressure rather than the resting pressure, as I like to call them, which may be incorrect, but is what I call them. And then when you've got the right pressure, click it down again and then you're set. You'll notice when you take your finger off it will go up again, but that's fine. That's the resting pressure, as I call it. It may or may not be called that. But then again, when you start spraying, it goes to the right pressure. So, thing number 4. Practice thinning your paints. You'll hear it needs to be the consistency of milk so much that you will get fed up of hearing it. But unfortunately, it's pretty true. Now, it wants to be semi-skimmed milk, if you want to say the thing, not full fat cream milk. No. Essentially, you want the paint thin enough so that it doesn't stick to the side of the wall in the cup. Again, I'll put a video up and you should see what it means. If you're using airbrush paints like Vallejo or Citadel airbrush range or various other ones which are all pre-thinned, you shouldn't really need to thin them. Some brands may need a bit more thinning than others. If you do need to thin your airbrush paints, use the proper thinning medium. So your water-based ones like the Vallejo and the Citadel ones, I use Vallejo's thinning medium because it just works really well. Things like Tamiya, for example, though, are alcohol-based. They're still acrylics, but they're alcohol-based, and you need to use an alcohol-based thinner. So I use the Tamiya thinner. Number 5, clean the tip. Constantly, unfortunately. It's one of these things, when you're spraying away, you get carried away, but then as you do so, because the air's spraying over paint, it is drying the paint on the tip of your nozzle, on your needle. And for ages, I didn't understand why that was happening. Just simple, because I'm a bit slow like that. I've got a split nozzle, so I can easily get to the needle with either my fingertips or a wet brush. If you don't have a split nozzle, you can use an old wet brush and gently clean round inside the nozzle, or a bit of wet kitchen roll. As long as you're gentle with it, it should be fine, not a problem. So that's 5 things I wish I'd known. If I was going to do a 6th, I would say essentially practice on paper, a bit of spare paper, practice your trigger control, and get your pressure right as well. That's technically 7. The thinner your paints are, the lower the pressure needs to be. So that's technically more than 5 things, but that's my things I wish I'd known when I was first starting out. Some people may disagree with some of the things I've said, which is great. Leave a comment below and just let me know what you think as well. If you have a different way of going about things, if you've got different tips, if you leave the comments and other people can read them, that's great. I'm always up for learning new stuff. So that's it from another GeekBod Gaming. If you have any comments, questions, or tips or feedback, then leave a comment below and I will respond to you. And wish I'd scripted this bit of the video, but I didn't. My bad. Anyway, until next time, GeekBod Gaming.